Hey everyone, so I finally took the plunge and I bought the Pixel 7a, and here are my initial thoughts. Let's start with the appearance. So at first sight, we can tell that it's following the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro design. The main difference being the overall size and the camera visor being a little bit smaller. Although the back is plastic, it doesn't feel cheap. The only time I can really tell it's plastic is when I tap on it with my fingernail, which you can kind of hear. It has a little bit of a plasticky sound to it, but when you're grabbing it normally, you don't really feel like it's plastic. It feels normal. When I apply some pressure, I don't feel any flex and I don't hear any creaking or anything, so it does feel like it's built pretty well. It is, accompanied by an aluminum frame, which is adding to the structural soundness of the phone, and it actually adds to the phone feeling like a premium phone because you do get that cool touch feeling when you first grab it. So Pixel also provides a few color options for the phone: Snow, Obsidian, Sea, and Coral. I think they're all called, but basically white, black, blue, and coral. I'm not sure if that's considered an orange or whatnot. So the colors are pretty nice. The white, black, and the blue are subtle, and the coral is the loudest one that's available. So the color has a bit of a pretty cool effect on it, on the aluminum portions, so like the aluminum frame and the visor. So when you're looking at it dead on, it has like the color is pretty pronounced. You can tell it's blue, but as you twist it a little bit, it kind of loses that pronounced blue color and looks more like silver. So it has a cool color changing effect to it. Next, let's talk about the functionality. So holding the phone, it actually feels very ergonomic. It's the volume rockers being in the bottom lets me control the volume without having to adjust my hands, and even with that, I can reach the power or the screen off button without having to adjust my hand. I can just reach it from my natural position. Also, along with the ergonomics, it is very comfortable to hold because the aluminum frame rolls into the plastic back. So there's nothing sharp there that's kind of protruding into your skin. You couldn't easily hold this for an extended period of time comfortably, and it's not gonna cause any sort of fatigue or discomfort. So continuing with the back plate, I have noticed that it's not as slippery as some of the other phones I've handled. I'm not sure if it's maybe the material or maybe the coating they put on it, but it just doesn't slide as easily as some of the other phones. It actually provides somewhat of a secure feeling when you're grabbing it. And I actually noticed this also when I placed it on my couch. Like when I watch TV, I just put my phone next to me on the couch. A lot of phones tend to slide a little bit on it. This phone wasn't sliding at all. It kind of behaved similar to how the other phones behave with a case on it. We also have the camera visor, which provides some incidental, features. One being that it really keeps me from putting my finger on the camera lenses, and dirtying them. I mean, for pretty much almost every other phone, my fingers are always on the camera's lenses for whatever reason, just bad habits probably. But the visor design kind of keeps my finger away from it. I guess provides some sort of border and lets me know that my finger is there and I don't go ahead and keep sliding it into the camera lens. But also provides a sort of finger stop when you're holding the phone. So it's not like it's gonna stop it from sliding all the way, but it does provide some extra friction to keep it from sliding down or anything. So moving on to the camera, the Pixel is always expected to have a good camera and take good pictures, and I think this phone delivers. So the pictures are coming out clear, they're consistent, and I'm actually interested in where it's gonna land at the end of the year in the cameras list, top cameras list. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the top of the list again, but we'll have to see at the end of the year. The phone is also providing some good video quality, and that kind of leads to the camera app. So the camera app is very intuitive, and but I will say though, a little bit of a knock or a negative on the camera app. It does feel a little bit more like the iPhone, in which it's letting the developers and the phone make most of the decisions for you. That's probably one way to control what comes out of the phone, make sure it's very consistent and it's the best results that they can push out. But it kind of removes some of the freedom from it. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's a total negative, but it's that's more of a preference thing. But I like to see some extra freedom on the camera app. So now let's move on to the screen. So it's a good screen. It has some decent color. It has some good brightness. It has 90 hertz of refresh rate, which provides some smooth scrolling. But it's not what I would consider the best screen in this price range. The other thing is that this being a small form factor, you really want to take advantage of whatever screen you can. But this phone has large bezels, so I kind of think of it as the bezel size matters more as the phone gets smaller. I think this phone could have benefited from smaller bezels to kind of maximize on the screen size for the form factor, but it's kind of hard to say it's a negative because every phone out there in this price range tends to have larger bezels, so can't really say it's a negative. Just it would be nice to see that. So now moving on to the processor. Everyone already knows this phone has the Tensor G2, which when you place that into a mid-range phone, that kind of makes it the best chip on a mid-range phone. So in terms of performance for this price range, this is going to provide great performance. You're going to have snappy responses. It's going to be comparable, or at least the closest thing to a flagship phone in terms of power and speed in this price range. This phone, I've noticed it does get warm pretty quick. I don't feel like it's burning, but it warms up pretty quickly. Using the camera app, though, you instantly start feeling it get warmer, and it gets pretty warm. Downloading and installing the updates also cause it to warm up. These are all normal, but I think it does it a bit faster than maybe the Pixel 7 or maybe a larger phone that has more space. So now let's move on to the battery, which kind of goes hand in hand with the chip. The battery size is not all that matters, it's also how long the battery lasts. So this phone has just under 4,400 milliamps on a battery, which is pretty large for this form factor. I was pretty surprised when I saw that size. It's definitely a good amount of a good battery size. The thing is that the Tensor G2 is not exactly the most efficient chipset, so it can drain the battery quite a bit. I don't expect it to be an issue forever for maybe 90%, 99% of the users. If you're a heavy user, it might not last all day, but I could see it lasting all day for normal, 3 to 4 hour users, 3 to 4 hour screen on time users. So I've been using this for about 11 hours and 3 hours and 16 minutes of screen on time. Starting at 100%, I'm at 51%. Now this is probably not going to be, the same every single time. But with these numbers, this phone could reach 6 to 7 hours of screen on time in 24 hours. And I mean, that's pretty much probably the max it'll reach. So, I mean, that's pretty good. The thing is, the phones don't really need to last 24 hours. It needs to last about, 16, maybe 14 to 16 hours, because that's when you go and plug it in already. So I could see this lasting all day for most people. Now, continuing on the battery, I guess the downside on this is gonna be the charging speeds. It is slow. So wired charging is always gonna be faster, but Google did introduce wireless charging to this, which is very slow. But hey, it has wireless charging, which I can't say that for every phone out there. Actually, probably most phones, or easily most phones in the mid-range tier don't have wireless charging. So it's a feature and it has it. It's just, I would say it's kind of limited to maybe overnight charging. It's not going to give you that quick boost you need, or any type of quick boost in the middle of the day. If you want that quick boost, you're going to have to plug it in to get the fastest charging speeds. So finally, overall, the phone looks, feels, and performs like a contender for the best mid-range phone of the year. I would like to see where it lands, and would be surprised if it's not listed as one of the contenders. I think the only thing that can really keep it out of the top spot is gonna be Google's reliability. So if Google could figure something out and keep it at least somewhat consistent, somewhat reliable, This could easily get the top spot for the mid-range phone of the year. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload new videos. And as always, I'll see you next time.